broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
The animals, trap, trap, trap till the cages fall. The cages fall, the cage is new, and everyone's waiting on you, and you got time. Think of all the roads, think of all the crows. Okay, yeah, you win, Scott. You win. I'm sorry, I can't.
And you've gotten rid of every last person listening at this point.
Right. I was like, now you can turn your radios back up, guys. Hey! Welcome to another episode of AfterBuzz TV's Orange is the New Black recap right here. Every week, we talk about Season 3. It's no exception today. Season 3, Episode 8, Fear and Other Smells. Yummy. Yummy. I'm Megan Thomas at Meg Scoop on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And who are you lovely people?
Oh, hey, guys. I'm Lauren Salaun on every social media network. The spelling is right down there. It should be if you're watching this.
Right, baby.
I'm like,
who are you?
I am, hey girls, hey. I am Scott Moore, and you can find me on Twitter at sman80. That's SMAN80. And follow us on Twitter with hashtag ABTVOITNB to join the conversation, because we do love it. Love hearing your comments.
Yeah, hit us up on Twitter. Actually, I'm going to check right now, so you guys keep tweeting us.
Yeah,
shout you out during the show.
ABTVOITNB.
Yes. Okay, let's get into this episode. So this episode had flashes with Alex, and we've seen some of Alex's past before.
Right.
But this time,
more of her adult.
Yeah, this
flashback.
Is some of her adult life. We've seen some of her flashes with Piper. Now we see what it was kind of like, during her right before she got put in jail, what it was like working for Kubra. And we see that her mom died. Yeah. And it put a void in her. Obviously, she started partying more. She's hanging out with Fari. She gets Fari in trouble, basically, because she tells him not to pick the chick up. Yeah. She needs to find her way here. Whatever.
Right, let's just keep partying.
Right. I'm like, this is not going to end well. Well, did you guys think like the dude that was in the hotel room with them was going to kill Fari?
No.
I thought it was going to be the room service guy.
Me too, because he was this meek, simple,
and of course,
shy.
How cliche, the room service unexpectedly shows up and then is the hitman.
Right.
Exactly.
And how the dark humor of it, where they're like, oh, I bet you he's not going to kill me. I bet you he is. Sort of thing.
I bet you $5.
Oh. Give him $5. I was wondering what. So the note said, "Hey, kill Fari."
Yep. Basically.
But that's so weird. Wasn't that guy running from Fari too?
That's why I think kind of threw us off, is that you thought they were in it together.
Right. He was kind of the
head from Kubra,
the head of the operation, at least with that group there, and so you find that person who'd turn on him.
Right. And then of course we see that Alex gets taken to Kubra, and Kubra has a nice side to him. Doesn't kill her like we all think that he's going to do. He actually says, you need to go to rehab. Obviously you're hurting. I have a nice side. But I have friends everywhere.
Yeah, that was the one that was like, oh yeah. He's like, I'm your friend. He's like, and remember, I have friends everywhere. I'm like, a little, creepy.
And which brings us to Lolly. Lolly, and last episode we saw that Piper figured out that, hey, I remember Lolly. She was the chick that was in Chicago with me. And it seems like, they're getting along pretty decently in Litchfield. And Lolly's a little weird. She's snooping around Alex's bunk area. To me, I feel like if you're doing that, you definitely have been sent here to kill me by Kubra. I feel like Alex should have just been like, look, I know you've been here you've been sent to kill me. I know it. So I'm just going to watch my back.
But does she? And I guess because I haven't gone ahead, so I don't know.
Not saying, but this episode you see,
Well, you do, but I'm like, is this really the case, or is this something else? is it another?
Or is she just a stalker like
right?
that?
Is it another diversion to like throw us off, and it's somebody else? So that's
that could be the case.
I was thinking that.
Distraction?
Yes, like just to kind of throw us off.
Don't
and,
you
like,
tell
it's
us,
not
Lauren. I know
really-
you've seen
You've
everything.
seen everything, so don't tell
No,
us.
I'm not going to. But
Okay.
when I was watching it, I definitely, I mean, she made me really uncomfortable. She's snooping at all her stuff.
Right.
And, you know, all the staring that's going on
Yeah.
and just real creepy.
No, definitely creepy.
I feel like Alex's concerns are totally valid.
Right.
No, I'm not saying they're not valid because she's obviously a creep.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just
Well,
saying,
and
like,
I thought she...
is she really a plant of Kubra's, or is she just
a creepy stalker
yes,
chick?
a creepy stalker
Yeah,
diversion, or
I
there's
wouldn't
another thing behind it
I wouldn't have
that
thought
to like
that.
throw
But
us
then
off.
why else would she, unless she's just like enamored? I guess that's a good point, because I'm like, okay, well, we assume that she was sent by
Right.
Kubra because Alex is really, paranoid.
Right.
And she's like, oh, he's definitely going to kill me. But then it's a little, then when you say that, I'm like, wait, could she just be a stalker chick?
I mean, because part of my issue is that's then it kind of just almost seems so unbelievable. Like, how does it even work that he has that kind of power
That's
to be able
exactly
to
what
get
I was
some
gonna say.
prisoner transferred,
How
or be able to find the
convenient.
right prisoner that's being transferred to now be the
Because
right
he's
plant?
Kubra.
It almost seems
I
like
know,
too
but it's
easy.
just too much.
Shoot, I have to do a hit in prison. I'm
Right.
just gonna plant somebody
Yeah.
in there just like that, and there you go.
They're gonna just
you
show
know.
up and
Seemed a
almost
little
too convenient.
A little too convenient, but at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, with all the weirdness going on, I was like, oh gosh, maybe he can.
I don't know. Now you guys have me over here. I thought I figured it out. Now I'm
I
sounding
could
like,
be completely
wait, I don't
wrong.
know. I don't
and the people
know.
out there are probably thinking, okay, he's so off base. But that's because I don't watch ahead, so I'm only right here on episode 8, and that's all I know.
Yes, and make sure you guys comment and let us know what you think. Don't give us any spoilers.
That's right, no spoilers.
But you can lead us in whatever direction you like, but don't tell us what happens. Don't do that.
I know. Or make fun of us for being so completely wrong, because I love it.
Oh, Lord, don't you
guys about
say
the
anything.
spoilers. Just don't tell them.
Make sure you subscribe. Go to iTunes, click subscribe, and give us 5 stars. Tell your friends and your friends' friends and your grandmama's friends,
That's
all
right.
of them, about our fantastic podcast right here on AfterBuzz TV. And you can catch us on SoundCloud and YouTube as well. Just click subscribe so you can see all of AfterBuzz's amazing shows.
Yeah, we have like 90 a week or something crazy like that. It's
A
so
gazillion.
insane.
Any show you want,
Yes.
pretty much will cover it.
Yes.
right.
And then Piper's like, you know what? We need to settle this once and for all. Let me just ask her if she was staring at you.
Right, because
I
Piper's
was
so
like,
not into the paranoia at all. She's like,
right.
all right.
And she asked, she's like,
Not
have you been
having it.
staring at her? And of course, Lolly says yes because
Yeah.
she was staring at me.
Me.
And I feel like Alex should have been like, no, I was staring at you because you were staring at me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's be real. I feel like Alex should just come out there and say it, because her being this little scared kid is just kind of, I don't
It's
know.
like,
I don't.
just makes her more scared and paranoid. Yeah,
Right.
just,
Right, like, just admit
confront
it. Just confront it and say, look, I know you're here. Just admit it and let's
Yeah,
move
because
on.
then you
You're
can
here because
maybe
of Kubra.
form some offensive or
Yeah.
strong defense against it if you confirm that. Just be like, all right, well, every time you get near me, I'm going to punch you in the face then.
Right.
You
Like, I
know,
know
like,
you're here to kill me,
I know
so
you're
I'm
gonna
going to be
kill me, so
watching
I'm
out for
gonna-
you. Of
Right.
course, Lolly can be like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. That's fine. I'll still punch you in the face. Don't come over here.
You stare at me.
Come on. All right. So speaking of Piper, this episode she gets the idea from Anita to season this nasty food that came in a box and a bag, to season it with the ramen flavoring packets, which that stuff is like super high in sodium.
It
guys.
is. That's what I kept thinking about too the whole time. I was like, oh my god, they're gonna be so thirsty.
Dealing
Like,
salt
and I'm
with
like,
a little bit of
right.
flavor.
I'm like, what kind of disease do you get? Is it heart disease or what disease?
Every disease.
Yeah,
Right,
heart
pretty
disease from a high. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Cholesterol, no,
Yeah,
not cholesterol, but blood pressure.
blood
everything.
pressure. Yeah, high blood
Yes,
pressure. That was the
salt's
word I was
just
looking
bad.
for.
I'm like, there's like 1,000 milligrams in like half of that packet.
Right.
Ugh.
Oh gosh, but that tells you how horrible this new food is. That's come through the
Well, I
kitchen.
think
Yeah.
what did how did they describe it? If you took a shit and then your shit took a shit
That
and
was
then became
Big
the
Boot, yeah.
mayor of Detroit.
Yeah.
That's what
It's
the
so
food
horrible.
tastes like.
And Black Cindy calls it Poop Wellington.
Right.
Yeah. So,
It looks just. At first, I thought it was gonna be good. I really did. When they were
know.
cutting that, when Maritza cut that bag up, and I was like, oh, it's probably all right.
but when I saw the mac and cheese sign from last episode, I was excited. I was like,
Yeah.
ooh, a big box
Well,
of mac and cheese.
And I've had those kind of like military meals where they come. They're
Yeah,
MREs.
MREs.
Yeah,
where
yeah.
they come
too.
packaged. You open up, you're like, this isn't bad actually. I could eat this. Which it's probably way different, those prison foods. But that's when I'm watching it. That's what I was imagining.
All of that isn't that great.
No, but you're thinking like mac and cheese with the powdered
Right,
cheese.
that's what I was thinking. Like it was
and-
gonna be like an MRE type thing. like, no, this is
like way more horrible.
yeah, it's like powdered meat, you know? Like,
I think you want the people fighting for your country to at least enjoy a little bit of their food.
Oh, yeah, no,
I'm
they're way
off,
different. But that's what I was
absolutely.
imagining. They'd be like MREs.
Right. Except the
Or
Black Girl crew is
or the
like,
kosher meals.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So the Black Girl crew has decided they're all going to be Jewish.
Yeah.
And I love how Black Cindy has really taken on the responsibility of being a Jew by like learning. She's got the Hebrew lingo. She's got like the right like examples. She's calling people Gentiles. Like,
Of course, she's learning for the wrong reasons.
exactly. For the wrong reasons.
And trying to learn by like Woody Allen. Yeah.
Yeah, she's
Right.
like, well, why don't you just read, what is it, the Jewish
Bible
or something? She's like, no, I need like the
real
cultural side
experience.
of things, like the real life stuff. Yeah,
Woody Allen and Seinfeld are all like
Seinfeld, I love
the
it.
real
It's so
right.
funny.
Like that's really how you learn how to be a Jew. is watching Seinfeld, apparently.
But there was actually in there a good like little moment about like just Hollywood and entertainment and stuff, and they're like, well, aren't all movies Jew movies?
Right.
Right. Like, no, she has a
Actually,
point.
you might have a point there. Yeah, and so we see with the ramen flavoring that the women, you know, it's a good idea. I think it's a good idea. But Piper, being the enterprising person that she is, decides to buy all of the ramen that's in the commissary.
Right, which also goes to show that obviously she's got some money to be able to do that as well.
Right.
So,
Okay, I have a question. So where does all her commissary money come from? Can you?
I think it's her
have
family.
Her family.
members? Oh,
Yeah.
So family members can give you money.
Anybody can give you
Anyone
money.
can give you money.
That's why Lorna tries to get it from the
okay.
men.
Right.
Brain
They put
first.
money on
We're
your
back.
books. So they send the money to the prison
That's
and they
right.
put it on your books, and that's what you
So I'm
get
like,
to
dang,
use.
how she's saving up a lot from.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Those
also
undies.
she's making some money from the undies.
Yeah.
You know, she's a
$1
little
an
more
hour.
she's a little richer than
Yeah.
everyone else. So yeah, she gets all of the ramen flavorings and she decides she's going to lock them up and give them to women as an incentive
Forming a
to
monopoly.
give her the stinky panties that they
Yes.
have on their butts. It's a good idea. I feel like it's a trade. You
it is a
need
good
some
idea.
flavor.
She's being a
add
very
your panties.
smart entrepreneur.
Yes.
She is. I kind of like this side of Piper.
Doing the most with what she's got.
Right,
Yeah.
right. It's pretty ingenious, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we see that she has this amazing monologue to speech, which
so
is,
funny.
I think, the highlight of this episode for me.
Absolutely, me too.
It's like
without
a
a doubt.
few minutes long.
It
too.
is. It's like
funny.
the political stump speech, you know,
Yeah.
and they even have like the cheesy political music in the background,
Right.
and she's saying all the right things.
Right, and it's so cheesy, which they obviously
Right.
do to play it up to be corny
Right.
and stuff, but it's just so good.
So good, where she's like,
It's
sweat
so good.
profusely and fart with abandon and make a reek to last 1,000 years.
Yes! Almost made me want to sell my underwear.
I know, right? Because she's like, just
okay.
think,
Yeah, I can do
let them
that.
smell your courage.
No, they're smelling your character.
Yeah, it turns it into this whole,
It was
about
so
like your
great.
independence.
Yes, what
and
kind of character
your
do you
life.
want them to smell?
Right. And then, of course, they were like, you had me at packet. Like, you had me at
Right.
ramen flavor
Yeah.
packet.
The guard's like, get her off the table. She's like, oh, my bad.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, I got carried away.
Right. So hopefully this is going to go well for her. She seems like she's, you know, getting her stuff together. And she's also, we'll talk about, Bailey. The fact that, you know, now has been in charge of having to flirt with Bailey
Yeah.
because Alex is in her own little world.
Yeah,
She's a
too
little
distracted,
scared. She's
yeah.
distracted. And so Piper makes a really good point. She's like, you know, of course, Alex knows how to get women to do what she wants them to do. But Piper's like, for a man, you just promise him sex. He'll give you whatever. You don't have to follow through.
Promise of sex is free.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but that's complicated.
It is, right? There's nothing
that's awesome.
free.
Yeah,
Good
that's
idea.
right. Nothing's absolutely free.
Then she's like, well, you might have to do a hand job. But like,
No big deal.
Worst case.
so sad. And then she's flirting with Bailey, and she does a very good job. You see, he's a little like
so funny.
smiley and like.
Yeah, it was great.
This is gonna work. Apparently,
Yeah.
the plan's gonna work. At least him smuggling the panties is gonna work.
Right, and
Until he
Stella for
F's up.
sure calls
Yeah.
him on it, or calls Piper on it. It's like, why do you keep smiling at him? You're totally flirting with him. And
Yes.
she's like, oh, I see what you're doing. You
Yeah.
want to be a runner. And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Stella's smart. She's figuring
Yeah.
stuff out. She's getting very acclimated to the way things are going. And there's a little love connection there. There's a little
Yeah.
chemistry going on. Remember I said there's got to be
Yes.
somebody added
Right, that's what we were
to
talking
this
about.
triangle. There's always a triangle with Piper, Alex, and somebody.
Yes.
It was Larry. Now it's going to be
Yes.
Stella. It has to be
It
Stella.
has to be, because again, we can't have, like we were saying, the same thing with Gloria and Red in the kitchen. It's like you can't have the same dynamic again because it just
Right.
gets boring and tired and played out. So now you have to add another twist to it.
Right.
Right.
So Stella can be that convenient.
Yeah,
like, twist.
She's like super hot, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Beautiful.
absolutely.
And so then also we see Healy again in this episode. So comes to visit him because she's lonely and she's sad and wants to be her friend because she chatters all the time. And she doesn't understand that she's chattering like I'm chattering right now. She doesn't understand why anyone doesn't be her friend because she's a tattletale, all this stuff. That's exactly why no one wants to be your friend. It was really sad to me that Healy was so selfish that all he wanted to do was subscribe her meds instead of being like, fine, go ahead and go over to let Counselor Rogers be your counselor.
Because a tiny bit of me is sad for Healy because you know that he does have, behind it all, he does want to do good things for these women and help them. You know, when he was trying to, way back when, doing the support groups and stuff, and nobody came and no one wanted to do that, you know, so I feel bad. I'm like, oh, come on, you really just want to help her, but for sure goes about it the wrong way of being like, well, nope, I'm your only option, and prescribing you antidepressants is the only way to do it.
So
I'm like,
sad.
no.
Well, and he's like, oh, and depression's all in your head. Let me just tell you that secret.
Yeah.
But the thing is like, he's still, and I cannot figure him out still, like, totally with that weird patriarchal, like,
Because,
anti-woman.
Right, but we've seen the flash with his mom.
Flash with his mom.
So obviously it's something that has come from his, upbringing with his mother, who is just really, really weird and crazy.
Yeah,
and I guess maybe he wants to help women as a way to, the help that his mother never got. Because she obviously was a little crazy.
Right, she was, but he always seems like he has something against him. Like, it felt like he doesn't want Birdie, like, it was this weird competition, but it also feels like because she was a woman, and like just certain things he's behaved in the past, as we've seen the way he treated Piper at first. It's like there's this weird dynamic with him with women that is just that he just can't handle it.
Right, it's like he didn't heal from, okay, I hate my mother because of how she treated me, so I had this deep-seated hate for women, but at the same time, I love my mom and I wanted to help her and I couldn't, so I'm going to try to help these women instead.
Yeah, it's this weird dichotomy, this weird dynamic that still we haven't quite gotten the answers from his character.
And even like with his wife, and
exactly.
She just takes him for granted, but then at the same time, he's not. It's complicated.
It's not. He doesn't have healthy relationships with women. Is what it comes down to, because she was like a mail order bride basically, and like he doesn't have healthy relationships, and we still haven't gotten that quick flashback of him with his mom,
right?
Of more of these issues that he still is dealing with.
Yeah, and it goes back to again them, I think, making such good complex characters.
Right.
Like, you hurt for him, but then you're like, but don't be such a dick.
Right. Like you see the flawed characters. Every human is. Everyone's got their flaws.
She wants to try and work on it in a different way.
And how dare you just say, here's some meds.
I get he's hurting and he wants to be the one to help her, but you gotta know when
you gotta know your gifts. You're not gifted in this area.
When to delegate.
Right.
When to let it go, go to birth. Yeah, like you said, nobody wants to be around sad people, That's not what a sad, depressed person wants to hear, because they already know that.
Don't be sad.
That's
and
not
then
what
you have
he said as a counselor. Yeah. And then, of course, we see Red comes into the office, and she's mad. She's like, I don't want to work in this kitchen. It's killing me, trying to cook this food that's not food.
Yeah.
It's bad for my reputation. She leaves her jacket, and he sniffs it. And I was like, of course.
Of course.
This episode, you would
it's all about sniffing.
All the sniffing, all the smells.
Yeah. All the smells.
On.
And then Counselor Rogers comes in and talks to him about the conversation she had with So-So. And I had to laugh because he really was just like, he said, you people. And then he goes, I have a master's in social work. And she's like, well, I have a master's in psychology. Like, it's a little different.
Burned.
Yeah. And you see
the
look on his face is like,
Yeah, he thought he was like above it.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha. Yes. And then he finally decides to give, So-So over to Rogers. Which to me, it was kind of sad. Like, it was really, really sad. And I feel like somebody needs to report him, because that's just, honestly, Rogers was like, we should help her and do what's best for her.
Right.
So, let's pass it on over.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see what happens with that, right? Okay, let's talk about what's going on with the rest of the prison, which is what Caputo is dealing with. And he is talking to Danny. Danny's getting ready to go to this meeting that Caputo knew nothing about.
Yeah.
It's all of the heads of the company, which Danny says, obviously, you don't want to be there. And then it's funny to me because I think this episode for me solidified like who Danny really is. Who, because we are always like, okay, he's the warden. Okay, he's a warden, but now I get a clearer understanding of who he is, and this whole shtick of like, I'm on your side, but I'm not on your side. Like, it really is true. He doesn't really know what he's supposed to do, and now we know why.
Right, I know, because at first I really thought, oh, he's not that he's like a bad guy or something.
like scheming.
You know, but he was scheming and he was like doing all the stuff and
just such like a corporate
corporate tool. Exactly. But that he was, you know, telling Caputo all the stuff, but he was really doing something opposite. So I was actually surprised to see him at this meeting.
Right.
Actually ask for those things. I don't know. Were you guys shocked by that? I was really surprised. I was not expecting that.
Yes.
I was not expecting that.
Because I thought he was going to just
at all.
I thought he was going to come in and be like super sharp and super like on his stuff and like, you know, the whole I don't know what's going on. Like I thought that was kind of a game
That's
that he
what
was
I thought
playing
too with Caputo.
It's a little bit, but mostly because he's really not sure what to do. And I think it's at this point, you know, when he leaves the meeting with Caputo, Caputo tells him about we should keep the kosher meals because we're going to have to deal with it later. We need the books. We need the, you know, we need the training, all of this stuff. When he brings it up, I really was like, oh my gosh, because now I think he uses Caputo to try to give himself credibility.
Right. Because he doesn't know it, and you see that he doesn't know. And now looking back, I'm like, oh, it's because he really doesn't know anything about this world.
Right.
Because he keeps saying, oh yeah, it's a good idea, Caputo. Like, you know, all those comments that I kind of thought were condescending were because he really doesn't know.
Right.
And he has no power to do anything. If he did think they were good ideas and wanted to follow through on them, he has no say unless the big guys.
And that's why I thought he wasn't going to mention anything in the meeting. So the fact that he did totally blew me away. I
loved seeing that little bit of courage and seeing, you know, in that way he supports or agrees with Caputo, and that, you know, I like that he gets a step closer to being on Caputo.
But is it because he agrees, or is it because he wants his father to give him some respect?
I think that's what I was thinking. That's what it was when after he said it. Because then looking back, once I knew the whole dynamic, I was thinking, okay, like he was just scheming against him. And then when I realized he really didn't know, and he's trying to make his dad proud, then.
I don't know if it was about trying to get his dad's respect, because his dad is kind of like, what the hell were you doing? You embarrassed me in front of the CEO. You know, like today was not the day to bring up all these big ideas and stuff. And plus, we're not going to do them because the whole point and the priority is on shareholders and stuff like that. So we want to cut costs. I don't care. You know, blah, 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 all that stuff.
Yeah. What was his dad? Like, I wasn't quite sure what his dad's actual title was. If he wasn't the CEO, like he was obviously very high enough up.
He might have been maybe on the board of directors.
Something that he was powerful enough to be able to.
And maybe like Strath is the COO, was what he was saying, and so CEO, and so maybe his dad is just on the board.
Right. Yeah, I wasn't quite sure where his dad was in the whole hierarchy of the hydras, you know.
Right.
Where is his flow?
Does he flow to the right? Yeah, where does he flow to the right from the CEO?
Right to the diagonally from the CEO.
Yeah. Right. And then of course the conversation that he has with his father is, you know what, like, Danny, you are in charge here. Don't let Caputo tell you what's going on.
You're the boss.
You're the boss. You lay down the law. And he does that, and he comes back and he flexes his muscle and he tells Caputo, like, you don't need to leave your shift.
Yeah. Until you are done. You don't leave early. And I was thinking about myself. When I leave here to come here on Wednesdays, I'm like, ready.
Somebody's going to give you a call.
That's right. Be like, you don't leave early on Wednesdays. But yeah, so it was really funny to see him kind of flex his muscle. And he's like, well, I'm the boss. And
don't call me Pearson, call me Danny. And I was like, wait. Isn't that like the opposite? You don't want the people. I'm like, you should be like, no, call me Mr. Pearson.
Mr. Pearson to you.
Not Danny. Like, that's a little informal.
That's funny because he's being very assertive and forceful about calling him a more informal name.
Right.
I told you, no, just Danny.
And I love how Caputo's at, you know, his rock band practice and he decides to like sing a song about it. You say you're not the warden,
but you're the warden.
He's like, I'm singing today. Let's jam.
Oh, that was so great.
I know. And when it cuts to that, I'm like, what is Caputo leaving for? Oh my gosh! Like, he's gonna get in trouble, and then because he's got garage band.
Like, very important.
Yeah,
so
very important.
I love that though, because it's like his outlet, and
he's got a life outside of the prison, and you know, hobbies and stuff.
Yeah, and that's his outlet to be able to, you know, kind of get away from that, from all the stress of that job, which is incredibly stressful.
Right. Speaking of stress, we saw that last episode that Gloria quit the kitchen. She's in line. She's talking to Sophia and about her son. And so Benny's been hanging out more with Sophia's son and the family. He's eating dinner there, which I think is a good thing. You know, Benny doesn't get to see the more, you know, family life, mom's cooking dinner, that kind of thing. So I think it's good that he's there. But we also see that Michael's acting out more. But now he realized it wasn't really because Michael's getting influenced, but because he's growing up, and this is stuff that Sophia told him.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when he said, practice on a girl who's insecure. Yep. Remember we talked about that? Like, why would you do that? Why would you say that? And Sophia's like, I do want to be in a world where that happens.
Yeah.
And now your son is doing what you told him to do.
Yeah, exactly. And when you see, Gloria and Sophia in line, you realize that there's more similarities than differences about their sons. They're both in that same situation with their sons having these same issues, instead of it being, oh, your son's doing this to my son and that kind of thing. They're realizing, okay, we both need to kind of stick together with this, and because we're in the same situation.
That was good. I was really like, they're both trying to be good parents, to their kids.
Exactly, and they're realizing that, and that was a good moment.
Right. And then another part that happened in this episode was Suzanne with her Time Hump Chronicles. It is catching fire. I'm talking about she's on the Harry Potter status,
the waiting
Shades of Grey. There's a waiting list. People want to read it twice. Who knew? Who knew her freaky erotica, space erotica, was going to take off like this?
Yeah, it's such high demand.
Right. I mean, you could see with Poussey, because she's very lonely, and so this was sort of an outlet for her. But obviously, all the women in some degree are lonely because they're all there. The ones that don't have girlfriends, that are all there, alone. So you get that, but it was still like, wow, who knew? Crazy eyes with the author.
Who knew she had all of this? Who knew she would be? And plus, there's no book, so I guess this also makes it easier. I can read this past the time.
Right.
To the point where they're bothering her to make new chapters.
Yes, that was so funny.
Right, who knew? Now somebody's bothering Crazy Eyes, and it's always been her bothering other people.
Right.
I'm really excited. I really hope that this takes off and she becomes a best-selling author for real.
She's the new, E.B. White or whatever, the E.L. James, something like that. Yeah, I was thinking, E.B. White, I think it's the
Rowling, person now.
Everybody.
So,
totally wrong there.
Close.
Charlotte's Web, or,
Sticky Webs.
Yeah. 50 Shades of Grey.
Right. And we see just how lonely Poussey is, because she gets drunk and she's sitting in that part where she's in the staircase and she's just
crying
about being lonely. It is
so
really
disappointed that the storyline didn't follow the love option. She was like, it just went with sex. Why? And she, it just breaks your heart for her, and how she just needs somebody, and is just so hungry for love and companionship, and the loneliness theme has been something that's been ongoing, I think the whole series, and especially with her. So it's just, it hit hard.
Yeah. And Taystee finally convinces her to go get help and seek help with AA. But we find out she goes to Norma's little cult group.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how I feel about this, guys, because I'm and on one hand, she's trying to get better, which is good. On the other hand, she's with a bunch of people who are...
Yeah.
It's a cult. Essentially, it's a prison cult.
Yeah, but it is kind of interfaith in a way. I mean...
Oh, I thought they were Wiccans.
Well, I think it started...
It was a whole Wiccan group,
it started as being Wiccan, I think, and then when Norma came in, she kind of led it, and I think it shifted then,
I think
right?
So-So's in it, and then
somebody had mentioned that too. It was it'll be interfaith, and I can't remember which character said that.
Okay.
From the previous episode. No, it wasn't her. I can't think of it. One of her... One of the laundry girls, I think. Which you guys can tell us which one it was, because now I don't remember. But it was something about interfaith. It's going to be an interfaith thing.
Okay, but then, so is this, so what did the look mean? What did the look that Poussey gave, or that Taystee gave to Poussey when she sees that she's in this meeting? What does that look mean? Because she stared at her and it was just a sadness.
Yeah, it was sort of like a sadness.
I didn't want you to go to this meeting. I wanted you to get help, but at a different place.
Yeah, exactly.
So is that what it was?
Yeah, well, that's how I took it. It's almost like a disappointed sad. You didn't.
I wasn't clear enough, I guess, because this wasn't the help you should be getting. And even if it isn't, it's still a step in the right direction. Maybe her realizing, I do need some help and I need to figure this out. So she's going there, which maybe is not the best option,
but better than
drinking.
Right, but here's the thing: if that was the case, then I don't think that that's the look that Taystee would have given her. I think it would have been
Well, I think it's because, from Taystee's perspective, that's not where she should be going.
Yeah.
Which leads me to believe that's probably not where she should be going. This is really getting really culty.
Right, it is.
Super culty.
Absolutely. No, I'm saying from us, but in the general sense for Poussey, it was a better step for her than But now I think she's going to go the far extreme. Now she's
Right.
going to be completely.
Right. It was a better step than nothing.
It's replacing the drinking. It's replacing one addiction with another, which we'll see. I feel what will happen down.
Oh,
down
yes.
the line.
That's going to be good.
Right.
Yes. And so we see it in this episode. Pennsatucky's back.
Yeah.
She's driving, and she's with Donut Guy, Charlie.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to go to the hardware store. She kind of teaches him, which is so
How to do
funny.
his job.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to get the keys. You can't leave me in the car. Like, he's like, yeah, you stay here while I go get my paycheck.
She was like, yeah, okay. And she's like, no, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
Right.
You know? Which I liked this little sequence. I thought it was kind of sweet. They've got like a little flirty thing going on.
They do.
And, you know, I like that she's doing the right thing by kind of coaching him along, and he's not being, you know, he's treating her like a human.
Right,
you know?
like exactly like an equal and human and not. But it brings me back to the whole point of like, why do they have the prisoners drive?
Yeah,
if they have to go out with the
weird.
CO to begin with, and I've always thought this from the beginning, then why isn't the CO just go out and drive and come back? Like, what is the point of having a prisoner do that? Because
is it like
I know we talked about like a
privilege?
job thing, yeah, but it just feels odd to me that you let them go out to freedom, and like she even mentions that whole thing about, oh, I could just crash the van and
right.
you know, kill us and
I feel
everything.
like that's probably not how it really happens
think
in real
so. I
prisons.
don't think you can
don't just
drive.
like drive.
Well, because it just seems like
the
you could just
guard.
escape or get
Yeah.
out, or it just seems silly because if you're already having to have a CO with you, why wouldn't the CO just go do that errand and come back? Then like taking them out.
I get bringing them because, like, if you're in prison, how nice would it be to get outside for a little while?
Oh my God, that'd be
go
the
in
most
for a ride in a
amazing-
car?
I would be like, I want to
ever.
get on van duty.
I would be on van duty every
Yeah.
time.
Right.
I mean,
But
listen
it
to the
is
radio, be out in the
super-
real world. Like, oh
It
my
is
God.
weird and seems risky to have them
Yeah.
drive, you know?
Like, why would they
Because you
drive?
could totally be like in one of your family meetings, be like, okay, every Thursday
Yeah.
I drive this guy to go do this errand, so I'm
Right.
gonna crash the car real
Right.
quick and you
Come
hijack
and pick
it
me
and
up.
get me.
Exactly.
You know, like,
Yeah,
there we go.
It's
Escaped.
Exactly.
Escapee.
It's very odd. But I love her whole comment about that too, like regicide, like killing a king or something. Like that was hilarious.
I know.
Like
I love this.
like I said, I love this whole sequence with them because it was just so funny.
The donut, like the
donut.
mascot conversation.
Which
Yes.
is what's
Seems weird.
hilarious,
Why is it a
which is
maple bar?
actually a very good conversation.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you just have a donut eating itself, saying, "I am this
This is
amazing,
amazing. I'm
I
gonna
taste
eat
this
myself."
great." And he's like, "No, that's like suicide."
And
like,
she's like, but
eating
what would
yourself.
a maple log know about donuts?
Such an amazing real conversation.
It is. It's so funny, but it seems like something you would have when you're like high or drunk or something,
Right.
not just like you're just sitting there talking about like, oh my gosh, guys, like the donut's eating itself, and like, it's
Yeah,
just
and
so
she's like,
silly.
it'll make you forget about death or something like that.
Right, because that tastes so good. And and I love their
hilarious.
dynamic. Like, they're really, I feel like they're going to be really good friends.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they go to feed the ducks with their old donuts. You know,
It's just a cute, fun time.
Yeah.
you know?
yes. Is this a love connection, do you guys think?
I thought, well, I took
think
it as
so.
that. It was very flirty to
Yeah,
me.
I
Yeah.
think for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. Pennsatucky's looking
Down.
real scary these days. I noticed that when she was driving. I was like, does she look worse today?
Yeah.
She typically works.
I just thought bad direction for that to go to with that,
Now,
that guy.
had a question about, because he obviously works at the prison and is new there, but he went to pick up his paycheck. Do we think he still works
Yes.
at?
Because it's part-time. Yeah.
Part-time, yes.
Oh, right.
Remember?
Yes.
Yeah, they're part-time.
And why would he give up that donut job?
Yeah, I was like,
she's the
free
best
donuts.
job in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, that's so cute. This is going to be really good. I like
Now
them
I
so
wanna
far.
I don't know. I think it's gonna be really, really bad, but
No, I mean, of course, there has to be some drama involved,
Yeah.
but I think, it's cute. She got to go feed ducks,
Yeah.
she's teaching him the tricks of the trade, but
Yeah.
obviously he's going to have to turn on her, I guess, because he's part of a different section of the prison, so you got to pick your sides.
yeah,
Right?
I know. That's why I'll be
I'm not
curious.
gonna say
Yeah, I know you
anything.
can't say anything, but
Where
But there was
this
somebody who
goes.
pointed out on our YouTube a comment that was like, you guys are not going to like donut guys.
yes, they did say that. I know.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
I know.
Don't you say anything, look. All right. Okay, we also see that Daya meets with Mommy Stash.
Yes.
To talk about the baby.
Yeah.
And she's still trying to figure out, should I give the baby up? Should I keep the baby? She's asking the baby, like, do you one kick
Yeah,
if you
one
want to
kick,
go?
two kicks.
Yeah.
2 kicks if you want to stay?
Hilarious.
Like, what are we going to do? And, we see that Aleda, of course, is telling her, like,
Right.
you need to make the decision now because when the baby comes, you're not going to want.
Yeah, and you're just being selfish if you know.
Right. And I'm just like, oh, this is so sad. I want
is.
Daya to keep the baby. Even with her grandmother in 149th.
Right. Yeah.
Just because you don't want it to, it's hard because you don't want it to follow in the same pattern as her mom
Right.
and her, with both of them being in prison. So on the one hand, you're like, maybe it is better to give it up. But I always I love Daya, and I feel like she has so much love, and she's a good person, and I feel like once she's out of there, she'll be a great mom and stuff. And so to just push through it.
Right.
Yeah, it's really hard because you see her trying to be selfless in the sense okay, well, she can give her a better life, the ballet lessons and the her own room and closet, and you do.
Yeah.
So it's almost like she's trying to be selfless by giving her child the better life that she couldn't provide.
Yeah. But then, last episode, Piper brings up a good point. It's all about time spent with your child and love, and that's what Daya is starting to realize. Well, maybe it's because I just need to love my kid. And so when she finds out from Mommy's stash that Aleda has agreed to money to do this, that's when Daya flips her lid and she's like, no, deal's off.
Yeah, she's like, this isn't right. This if there had been no other shady business going on, I think she still would have gone through with it. But now she's realizing, my mom's totally been manipulating the situation, and that's why she's pushing me to give the baby away. And so she's had all this mess going on with her own internal struggle with this decision that.
I can't believe she told the truth, but I'm glad she did.
It's gonna be bad,
it's
gonna be so bad.
It makes me really nervous.
Right?
Yeah, because she's like, it's not his. All this stuff. You're like,
but he didn't go to prison for impregnating. He went to prison because he did have sex with her, which is true, right. So he's not like he's going to come out of prison because the baby's not his. He's still going to be in prison.
But that means they know someone else did.
And that's when it's going to be. It's just bad for everybody. So it's like, when she did that, I was like, no.
I liked when the mom was like, she stands up, she's pissed and sad and totally disappointed, and it's like, thank you for telling me, and just walks out. I thought that was such a powerful moment, and Mary Steenburgen did such a good job with that.
It
also has a chill to it.
It did, it did, because you saw that, because I always thought there was something about her. I was like, oh no, she's not
Something's
good.
a little off, right?
I don't trust her.
Yeah.
And now
Pornstash's mom, come on, something's not right.
She thinks that he's kind of a screw up, but at the same time, still her kid.
Still your kid. Apple doesn't fall too far from the tree.
Right. So there was something about her I didn't like, and that when you said that very exact, it was like that chilling, you're like,
boom, that was a good line.
This is so bad, because we've said this before.
I just got chills.
Yeah, I did too. I think they decided to go this line, and I know, I didn't agree with it because it was a lie and it was going to be found out at some point. But they went this direction, and now they have to kind of go all in. And the fact that she just told it all to. Lady Stash was like, now you've done it.
I guess
now you've opened up that big can of worms there.
I know, but then I'm like, well, because she doesn't know. Pornstash's mom doesn't know, I guess, how far along she was when she came into prison. So maybe that's something she could have been like, you might have been 2 weeks pregnant, you got in prison, and then, you had sex with my son, and you know what I mean? So she doesn't technically know how long Daya was pregnant before she got into prison.
Yeah. But she probably can find it out pretty easily.
Yeah. True. I just don't know.
You just don't, in that situation, just say, no thanks. I thought about it, and I'm going to do it myself.
And just step
don't
away.
Say it's someone else's baby.
Don't open that can of worms. Just walk away from it. I was like, oh, man.
She shouldn't have said it.
No.
Okay, so that is all we have for this episode. Let's get into some predictions about the next episode.
No, I was just talking about Lolly now.
Oh, yes, we know Lolly. We can say it now.
Yeah.
And Lolly. Go ahead.
Yeah, so no, I was going to say that ending was so great. That last scene of her sitting in the corner, talking about, because they're talking about the book, going back to Suzanne with the book, and it's okay, I'm a very patient person, and then you see her pull back, and she's keeping track of everything.
All these notes of everything going on.
Right across the hall.
Her. And that great shot when they did that extreme close-up of her, and they played the song, Getting to Know You, so good.
Right, because Lolly, I like her. She seems really fun, really cool.
Quirky, yeah.
And I can't remember, I had to go back, but I couldn't find it. What exactly happened? She got beat up, and she was in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
What exactly happened? I forgot.
I know, I forgot the exact setup, but I remember Piper didn't defend her, and she stood like, it was like something like her. Everyone will have to remind us here.
Right.
She like stood up for them, and then she ended up getting like beat up, and Piper didn't do anything. And, like, let her get beat up.
I'm just like,
I remember that, but I don't remember the exact circumstances.
Yeah, the
but I know it was
context.
something of her like kind of standing up for her. But that ending was, I think, my favorite of this entire series. I think of not even just the season, of just that extreme close up, the way she's like keeping track of everything, and that's music.
Right. And they show you like her little log. That's
so good.
Gosh. For the night.
Such a good job with the music for this show. For all of Jenji Kohan's shows. They do such a good job with the music.
That tight, like, of her was beautiful.
So she has to be Kubra's plant then.
I'm not ready to say that, though. I'm not ready to say that. So you think
she might just be a psycho
I think
stalker?
She might just be a psycho stalker. I'm not ready, because I feel like it's almost too easy to just go and say, oh, yeah, that's the plant, and, Alex is right, and I don't know. I think there's something else there that we don't know yet. But that's because I haven't seen
Lauren
it.
just cheesing her like she doesn't know.
And everybody out there is probably thinking the same thing, like, you're an idiot, you're so off, but I'm still not ready to say that it's him.
Okay.
And it could be something completely different that we're still going to get unraveled next couple episodes. I guess that's my prediction now.
That's your prediction? Okay. Lauren, prediction?
I mean, it's hard to predict.
No, you can't have a prediction.
You can't, 'cause
No,
you've
you've
seen
seen it all. Don't predict. No.
I could just confuse you guys. Throw out a lot
I
of
know you
random stuff.
could. Let me do something with... Okay, so I do think that Polly and Larry are going to show up again. I do think that Suzanne is going to become a famous author somehow. I don't think the Panty Enterprise is going to go as planned. I think it's going to tank.
I agree.
And then Piper's going to get more time in Litchfield, so she has to stay long. Because how do you have Orange is the New Black and she's out? You know what I mean? Like she has to stay in. So
how long does she have?
She's 8 months. Well, at this point, I don't know.
Oh,
we don't really know.
It was 8 months at last.
No, 18 months total. Well, no.
Yeah, but wasn't it 8 months at some point? I thought
it was like
down to
28. It was more than 2 years.
Yeah.
So we don't know how long she has left now because we don't know how long she's been in.
And how the time is actually working on the show.
Right.
Yeah.
I just feel like she's going to have to do something to get put back in there.
Yeah, interesting.
You know what I mean? And then what else was I gonna say? I still think the Judy lady, the chef, is gonna come into the prison.
Yes, I do too. I agree with you on that
Chef
one. That would
Judy.
be fun. Bring her in to fix up from those pre-planned meals.
Yes, that's gonna be interesting.
She's
All
gonna
right,
make kosher meals for everyone.
kosher! Yay! Not for you Gentiles though.
No, for everyone.
Right. Oh, by the way, can we just say how it was so horrible that the people, when they were at the meeting, were making like the Jew jokes?
Oh my God.
Well, she's like, yeah, shit. She's like, well,
The
where's
Jews?
the
Who's
extra
gonna make it? The
soap?
Jews?
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Oh, the soap. I was like, oh
But
God.
I did.
Oh.
I
Quiet.
appreciated Danny's dad for that swift firing. He's like, no nonsense. That is not funny. You're out
Are
of
you
here.
firing me? HR will take care of that.
He's
for
like,
you.
Okay.
Don't
He's
talk
like,
to you
yeah,
about it.
you're out of here. You don't say that kind of crap. Yeah, because you're like, ooh,
Right.
no, I see what you did there, but no,
Yeah,
don't
everybody's
do
like,
it.
quiet.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. All right. Where can we find you guys?
Oh man, you can find me at Lauren Salaun. That's LaurenSalaun on literally every single social media platform out there. I love me some Instagram, Snapchat, Periscope, Twitter, all of them. YouTube too. I also do on Monday nights the Whispers after show because I'm just filling in here. So you might see me back here again, but Monday nights right now, the Whispers.
Yeah, you got that connection with the Whispers panties here from Orange is the New Black. So there you go. There's your connection.
Yep.
There's your
How
connection.
funny is that?
You can find me on Twitter at sman80. That's SMAN80, and here also for the Defiance After Show.
And you can find me, Megan Thomas, on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Meg Scoop, like scoop of ice cream. And don't forget to check out AfterBuzz TV's sister station, Black Hollywood Live. I host a show on there called Next, so check it out. We love your comments. Keep commenting and use the hashtag ABTVOITNB. See you guys next time. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.